Hello, Danvers. Welcome to Senior Solutions. I'm your host, Karen Halloran from Azure Health. Today, we have Darcia Tremblay from Silver Lining Solutions on the show. Hi, Darcia. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Karen. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. We may as well just dive into everything. Your company deals with Medicaid.
Yes.
Medicaid applications. Tell me a little bit about your background with processing applications for seniors.
Well, after being a stay-at-home mom for 10 years, from 2000 to 2010, I really fell into Medicaid applications. There was a gentleman and his wife out of Middleton, Mass. that had a company processing Medicaid applications. I had a friend from high school that was working for them, and I sent my resume on a Monday. They interviewed me on a Tuesday, and they hired me on that Wednesday. And I knew nothing. I didn't know the difference between Medicare or Medicaid. They taught me everything from the ground up. How to fill out the application, where to get signatures, how to process all of the documents. They then retired a couple years later, moved to the Carolinas, and sold the company to 3 elder law attorneys. From there, I learned the legal way of doing applications without technically being a lawyer. A couple years after that, I just decided, you know what, I really want to go and do this on my own. One of the Mass Health caseworkers had said to me, you have a really good reputation, you can go do this. So I left that company and I started Silver Lining Solutions.
Where is your office located? What areas do you cover?
We have our home offices in Topsfield, and we cover the entire state of Massachusetts. We have a lot of nursing homes on the North Shore, the Boston area, as well as Worcester. We also have a few down on the South Shore. And we also do Maine care applications up in Maine and New Hampshire Medicaid applications as well.
Wow. There's a lot to learn. Just to back you up, like you even said, what is the difference between Medicare and Medicaid? You know, I know a lot about Medicaid, but there's still a lot I don't know. So I know at home you have a lot of questions. What is Medicaid long-term care, and what is the Medicaid community?
Medicaid long-term care covers nursing home coverage. The application is the same for the long-term care as well as the community programs. Mass Health has 5 or 6 different community programs for seniors still at home that need assistance with medications, self-care. They have programs that the aides can come into the house and help them just to be able to transition and stay in their home longer. The long-term care covers the 24/7 nursing home coverage. So the application is both the same it's the same process. We just check off a different box of whether we're applying for long-term care nursing home or Mass Health community programs.
Because I know working in nursing homes, you cannot come in with the community benefit.
Right, it has to transition over. It's called a conversion application. So if someone has Mass Health in the community, we still have to do a full application process to convert them over to the long-term care.
So when you meet with clients, what's the first step to filing a Medicaid application?
When a family member or an applicant calls, we have a full screening process of what we go through to ask them what are their assets, how many bank accounts do they have, do they own a house, just so we have a rough idea of what the application is going to entail. When they come in to meet with us, we complete the application, we get their signatures on all of the pages. We have a Mass Health financial request form that we have either the power of attorney or the applicant sign, so that we're able to get the 5 years of bank statements that are needed for the application process. So we really get a lot of that done on that first one-on-one personalized meeting with the applicant or with the family.
You just made me think of something, that there is a 5-year look back.
Yes.
So I don't think a lot of people know that.
There is a 5-year look back. You cannot give away any assets. You can't give away any money. You can't transfer your house over to your children within that 5 years. You can't put anything into a trust, because otherwise it will have to be undone within that 5-year look back period. So we need to request 5 years of bank statements. If there's any property that has been sold within the last 5 years, again, any bank accounts that have been opened or closed, we have to get those documentation for. Life insurance policies, and other securities, stocks, bonds, annuities.
That makes me think there are a lot of documents that are involved. Is there anything else maybe you haven't mentioned?
We also go into life insurance policies and how those, if they have cash values, how we handle those. We also recommend that people get a prepaid funeral established as well.
Okay. How long, this is a long process. How long does it take from start to finish?
It can take up to 6 months of time, but a lot of, typically it's 3 to 6 months. No, take that back. It's typically it is 3 to 4 months of time. We have had a few applications that we've been able to get approved within 45 days. But the average is 3 to 4 months. And again, if it's a more complex case, it could take up to 6 months.
So is it retroactive?
It is retroactive. It can go back, so the day we submit the application, it can go retro back 90 days for coverage back to that date.
So I think you touched upon there could be delays, though.
There could be delays. If someone has a trust, whether it's revocable or irrevocable, it all has to go through the Mass Health Legal Department to be approved, and there is additional documents that are needed when someone does have a trust. So that does put on delays, or if we have family members that aren't quite as cooperative as we had hoped they would be with getting us documents on time, that can lead to delays as well.
Right. So you just brought up something. With families, there's a lot of urgency and emotion going on.
Yes.
How do you handle that with families?
We hold their hand every step of the process. A lot of times they come to us and they are in crisis mode. You know, mom has fallen, she's broken her hip, she can't go home. What does the family do? We walk them through this entire application process. We take it off of their lap so that we're the liaison between Mass Health, the nursing home, and the family. We hold their hands, we cry with them, we support them through this whole process, and when they do get approved, they are so thankful for us. We have family members that send us flowers, they send us chocolates, they send us brownies and cookies.
Wow.
You know, we have one client that drops off wine for us. So they're just so appreciative to be able to get through this whole application process and be successful.
Yeah, it is a long process.
It
It
is.
really shouldn't be. It's so difficult because what if somebody doesn't have anybody to help them? What do they do?
We have a lot of self-applicants, is what we call them, and if they're in the nursing home and they don't have a family member to help them, or if they don't have a power of attorney, we will go to the nursing homes and sit bedside with them, and we will fill, as long as they're competent, and we fill out the application with them. They sign all the release forms for us, they sign the application, and then we're able to take the ball and run with it from there to be able to help them through this process.
Now, a lot of times people are married. What happens if they have more money than it qualifies for them to actually get Medicaid?
When someone is married, we walk them through the process of, we work with the spouse, and usually there's a child that's also involved, an adult child. So we walk them through a spend down process. A spouse living at home can have up to $148,600. An individual can have no more than $2,000. Anything above those limits are considered spend down. So we will work with the spouse on getting down to that $148,000. There are a lot of, like I said, the first thing that we always recommend is to set up prepaid funerals for both the applicant and the spouse. They can set up pre-need burial expense bank accounts to protect additional assets for any incidentals above and beyond the cost of the funeral. If the spouse needs a new car, if home repairs that need to be made, if they need new appliances, we help walk them through to make sure that that spouse still living at home is still going to be able to be comfortable before we look to doing it's called a SPIA annuity. It's a single premium immediate annuity. It's a SPIA for a spouse, so that if there are any additional assets, we're able to convert those additional assets into an annuity so that that spouse living at home still has additional monthly income.
That's great, because I know there are a lot of fears out there, like, oh, my husband's going to a nursing home. Do I need to sell the house? Where am I going to live? The spouse can still live in the home, right?
Yes, the spouse still stays in the home. We work with an attorney to have the house transferred over to the spouse in the home as a sole owner. And the state does not, as of right now, they do not put any type of lien on that house as long as the spouse is still living there.
Great. And you did touch a little bit upon the spend down process. How does that, go forward with the spend down process in order to qualify?
We monitor the spend down. It's mostly medical expenses. At a certain point, the only thing that Mass Health will allow are spend down expenses. So we really have to work within our deadlines of what they can use their money on and what they can't use their money on. Obviously, people don't realize, but you can't give away your money and qualify for Mass Health. You can't just give $50,000 to your children because you love them and have Mass Health not put a penalty period on that. So we really try to work with those families as soon as possible to let them know what they can and can't do with a spend down process.
Well, it's a wonderful service that you offer. It really is.
Thank you.
And I'm sure once you help people, they feel a sense of relief. Is there anything else they may need from you down the road?
Every year, about a year after their approval notices, Mass Health will come out with an annual eligibility review. A lot of times the families will call us back and just say, can you help us with this? They don't send the forms. We have the forms at the office. So the state says, oh, you have to fill out an annual eligibility review, but they don't give the family the review form. So they will call us and say, can you just help us? We do charge a minimal fee to help with that annual eligibility review.
Fantastic. Well, you're a wealth of knowledge and very helpful to the seniors out there. If somebody would like to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
You can reach me at Silver Lining Solutions. Phone number is 978-887-1100. You can also visit our website at silverliningsolutions.com.
Fantastic. Well, I always like to end the show with 3 questions.
Okay.
So I have the first question for you is to tell us some fun fact about you. It can be anything.
Fun fact. I love Disney World. So I've been about 17 times.
Oh.
I've taken my children 4 or 5 times. Our last trip, it was just a girls' trip with me and my daughters. And so I just love it down there.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
And we love animals on this show. Do you have any pets at home?
I do. I actually have a Boston Terrier, Buster, who is 4, and Bruno, who is a rescue terrier, and he is a 1.5 years. And actually, both of them come to the office with me every day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And one last question. It hasn't been a brutal winter here. We haven't got a ton of snow. But still, people love to take a little retreat, little vacation, and go somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite vacation spot, or have you been anywhere recently?
I guess our favorite vacation spot, my husband and I have been to Jamaica a few times. We love it there. But we go to Florida quite often. And we were actually just down in Naples, Florida, the first week of February, visiting some friends down in Naples. And then my daughters I have a daughter at Clemson, graduating from Clemson, so I went down to see her a couple weeks ago. And then this past weekend, I was at High Point, North Carolina, visiting my 2 daughters at High Point University. So I love to go and visit the girls.
So exciting.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thanks again for coming on
Thank
the
you
show.
for having me.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in. Until next time, please join us and stay healthy and well. Have a great day.